Have you ever noticed that you can be in a perfectly good moment, and yet something in you still just doesn't feel satisfied? Part of you feels like it should be different somehow, better, more. And that moment that that belief appears is when something changes. Something feels heavier, less enjoyable, just further away from okay. If this sounds familiar for you, stay tuned, because we're going to explore what this is and how to shift things. David, William, Pearce, welcome back. And I work with people who often feel this tension, that life can look fine on the outside, but internally there's still a subtle dissatisfaction, a feeling that something isn't quite landing. And if you stay with me in this video, you might start to see what's actually creating this sensation. This week I found myself carrying a subtle belief that something needed to be different. And carrying that belief felt heavy. It felt far from okay. But what if nothing needed to change? Tantric teachings point to something very simple. Bliss, ananda, is our natural state. Not something we create, not something we earn, but something revealed when we fully meet the moment with our conscious awareness. But most of us don't actually meet the moment. We meet our idea of what the moment should be. Imagine this, it's a hot day and you want to cool down. Someone tells you that they'll bring you ice cream in an hour, and immediately you feel the relief. The coldness, you imagine the sensation in your body and how good that feels. But then the mind starts meandering. You begin to think about flavors, and eventually you land on vanilla. You picture it, you anticipate it, you start desiring it, craving it, wanting it. And when the ice cream arrives and it's chocolate, you can't help but feel a disappointment. That joy that you had at the idea of the cooling you were anticipating is gone. Because what arrived was different to what your mind decided should have arrived. And that's the pattern. The belief that something needs to be different blocks the natural experience of joy. It's not the moment itself, but the belief that it's surrounded in. And once you start to see this, you start noticing it everywhere, in relationships, in work, in intimacy, in everyday life. You stop experiencing reality directly because you're too busy negotiating with it internally. And if you recognize this pattern in yourself, where your mind constantly pulls you out of the moment and into expectation, into comparison, into subtle dissatisfaction, this is exactly the work I do with people. Helping them identify the unconscious patterns shaping their emotional experience so they can stop fighting reality and start enjoying it. Because often the thing costing us joy isn't the circumstance, it's the story, the narrative that we're holding about how the circumstance should be. So if that resonates, check out the description for more information. Because what I'm learning is that nothing may actually need to change for joy to become available again. When you can see reality for what it is rather than what the mind imagines it could be, something begins to soften. That's when the recognition of what's already there becomes enough. What's on the menu gets to be fully met and fully enjoyed. I'm learning not to let my mind take me out of the moment so quickly. To pause, to breathe it in fully, to squeeze the experience for all its juice and actually taste it while it's there, rather than living in the fantasy of what it's not. The question is whether we're actually here to receive when life arrives. So if you'd like to go deeper into this teaching, there is a video dedicated to this week's teaching. I'll leave a link for you. We get to explore that. And maybe ask yourself, where are you missing? Where am I missing what's already in front of you? Because I'm so attached to my mind's interpretation of a fantasy instead of actually enjoying the lived reality. So thank you for being here. Appreciate you, and see you in the next transmission. Cheers.